Welcome back to another edition of the Root to Rising podcast with myself, Christine Hummel, and I have two of the very first guests that were ever on my show today with me, Ellie and Megan. They were on our first debut of Root to Rising. As a reminder, this podcast is to create a platform for having women to share their stories, to have other women listen, understand experiences, learn, and grow. So Ellie and Megan, welcome back to the show. You're my first repeat guests ever.
Woo! Yay! We're back. Happy to be back.
So as we started out as the first guests, Ellie and Megan told us just about their journey throughout high school and college. They were soon to be graduates or graduating at the time. So to follow up to see where they're at now, let's figure out where are they now. So Ellie, why don't we start with you? Tell us about what's happened since May of last year after you graduated from the University of Alabama.
So since May, over the summer, I stayed in Tuscaloosa. And then I think I was talking about like where I wanted to end up, and I probably said Nashville, and here I am. So I've been here since end of July. I started out in this sales job that is your classic entry level, straight out of college sales job. And so, but now I am bartending in a little town outside of Nashville, and it's been a blast, but I'm still on the hunt for full-time positions. And right now it's going in the right direction. So I'm very excited about some applications that I've sent in, and honestly, my job right now, I'm having a blast. And so I feel that I am at a good place right now, but still always looking up and looking out for more opportunities, especially here since there are so many. And so, but right now I've been good. I've been progressing in everything that I've been doing, and here I am. So
why did you pick Nashville?
I picked Nashville. I think probably the same answer I gave before, but it was for location wise, it was a little bit of South, a little bit of city. So a combination of Alabama and Chicago. And I've been here plenty of times before, and I've loved this city. There's a lot, to do other than just like the classic Nashville stuff. So it's been fun, learning about everything else that is in Tennessee and what else there is to do. And so besides looking for jobs, I'm also looking at like other fun things to do around here. I don't know. I always just love Tennessee. It's always been a place that I wanted to live, and it's been great. No regrets.
Awesome. Megan, how about you? Where are you now, and what are you up to?
Well, I just graduated in December from the University of Alabama as well. And I was a marketing major and a sales minor. And I am on the job hunt. And it has been a little brutal, but it's okay because I am staying here. I still have my lease with my roommates, and they're all graduating in May because I graduated early. So I'm kind of just doing some part-time work here while I'm doing interviews, which seems like a million, but you got to get there.
What was your major that you graduated with, Megan?
Marketing.
And Ellie, what was your major?
Communications.
So Megan, when you have a marketing major, you said the job market and the interviews have been brutal. So why is it brutal, and what have you been doing to navigate through that?
Yeah, honestly, like while I'm applying, like you can usually see how many people have been applying, and it's just mass amounts, like usually over 100, which is fine. Like I feel like I talked to my parents about this, and it feels like you're ahead of the game because I graduated early, but in reality, I'm competing with the people that graduated last year. Like there's always people looking for jobs, and it's such a common major, which is fine because I love it, and I like love being creative. That's like what was really important to me while choosing my major. But it's just, I'm just trying to like, honestly, at this point, look for smaller companies just so I can at least like gain experience and like learn what I really want to do with my degree. Because honestly, like marketing is and any business degree is very broad. Like you can go any direction with it. And I've honestly had more opportunities in the sales kind of world, which is something I'm interested in. It's just not probably on the top of my list. So yeah.
Have you used your LinkedIn network or people that work at companies to help get interviews or to have introductions?
Yeah, so I've actually kind of made it a priority of mine to try to reach out over LinkedIn rather than just applying because, everyone's just applying. So you got to kind of go the extra mile. Or I know I had talked to you outside of this about my resume, like kind of using ChatGPT and other resources to like make it specific to a certain job so you stand out other to other candidates, but it's hard. I think that we went to such a big school that like even one connection reaching out to a graduate that got this amazing opportunity can help you a lot just by knowing them, because everybody who's in the workforce knows how hard it was before, I think, or kind of
Right.
young people in the workforce. So I think that that's really helpful. Like I'll be reaching out over DM to like random people. Sometimes I don't
You
answer,
should.
but it's worth the try. So,
Yeah, it's a lot of what you know, not just what you know, but who you know. So finding your
mhm.
network. We talked about this last time. Everyone is showing up as equal when you graduate high school. So it's really finding the people that you know that differentiate you, or certain things about you that connect to that job or to that company. So it's definitely, again, finding that differentiating point. But Ellie, how about you in your search for a job? How have you done it? And, when you're looking for a job, how do you differentiate yourself?
I kind of think it's the same thing. Being in communications, Megan in business, it's kind of very broad and you can go in many different directions. And so it's kind of the same game of you apply and you see, like on LinkedIn or Indeed or any of those job search sites, like you can see how many people and it's hundreds, but what you got to do is take that extra step. And so either sending them like a letter if it has their name in there, like over LinkedIn, just like a message, or like literally in any way, or an email. So just being able to make yourself known and be like right there and not just another application, because they're just going to scroll right past you. So being able to do that makes you stand out a whole lot more. And so that's how you're going to get that foot in the door and start talking to people and make sure that you're seen. So it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
And
I've
so
also
when
like,
people,
oh, sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead, Megan. No, go ahead.
I've been talking to a lot of my friends that haven't graduated yet, just about everything, applications, everything. And we have had like a kind of like a debate, not a debate, but like maybe you can answer this, like how important is like a cover letter compared to like your
Oh,
resume?
yeah.
Like if I'm really, really interested in a position, I'll like take the time and like have someone look over my cover letter. But I don't like, is that doing anything? Like, I don't know if like that's even being read or if it's just being put it through an AI, whatever type
So
thing. So,
So I think that following the process of getting job is very important, and making sure that you follow all the rules if people use them or not. Because if you don't, a lot of times, if you don't have a cover letter and that's an expectation, they won't even read your resume. Like
right.
this person can't even try hard to do a cover letter, right? So
Yeah.
even a thank you email after you interview someone, it should be the same day that you're interviewed with that person. Send them a personalized thank you letter. And so it may not necessarily be something that people are reading or people are using to differentiate, but if you don't do it, it immediately will eliminate you from the process. So
Right. It
I
shows
strongly
less effort.
encourage, right, less motivation. Now, the cover letter, I wouldn't be generic in your cover letter or your thank you letter. You can have the same framework that you're using all the time, like a quick opening, but then you always in the body, my recommendation is to pull from some personal connection that you had with that person and highlight your qualities that make you appropriate for that job. So, for example, if you had an interview and you talked with that person about they spent the weekend traveling to Chicago, I'm making it up. And first, a lot of people say, "Oh, how was your weekend? How was your weekend?" And they say to you, "Oh, it was great. I went to Chicago for the weekend." Pull that piece of information through to your cover letter. Just say, "It was great to meet you. And again, great to hear that you had, a great time in Chicago over the
Right.
weekend," because that little piece of information shows them that you were listening, and it also attaches to them personally and they feel like it's a connection. And that connection may be the difference of looking at two side-by-side resumes, one that moves forward and one that doesn't, because you pulled a personal thread for them. So have something personal that you connected to in the cover letter is my first recommendation. The second is whatever that interviewer asked you on the job, on that interview, about what certain qualifications you had to fulfill it or that you got out of it, make sure that you state that in the cover letter. So for example, if they talked to you and said, "This is a very detailed orientated job, you've got to be quick thinking, it's fast moving," then you state that in your cover letter, like, "I heard from you these things, these X, Y, and Z are important, and here's the characteristics or the experiences that I have," and list them out. that would be the right ingredients for you in this job or something. So make sure you target specifically what they highlighted and repeat it again. It's showing that you listened, and then it's also describing that you have those characteristics. So those are the two main things in a cover letter I would always include. And then the thank you letter, similarly, draw on that personal connection, reference something you talked to personally in the interview, and then mention something specific that they asked you a question on that describes your skill set. Because the generic ones, I mean, anyone can put that in ChatGPT, which is fine, but you still have to customize it to your conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Yeah,
that make
makes
sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're hearing back from companies or people with your interviews and you're not being able to get that job, what are they telling you? Why are they saying you don't qualify or they've looked for someone else? Ellie, how about you?
It's pretty, I think most of the time you kind of have to like email back and ask why. Like they usually what it just says is like, thank you for like your interest in this process, but we have decided to go with another candidate. Here's like, you can log into this, keep on the lookout for other job opportunities with us or like other things like similar to that position. Like they kind of give you like another way to go, but there's never like, it's never super personal, I feel like. I mean, it depends on like how small the company is or like what position you're applying for. But usually if it's like a big company, like a more broad like position, like they're just going to send you that copy and paste email that's like, sorry, we went with another candidate. And then if you really want like to know why and like know what you can work on and do better and say like, what can I do better? What were the traits I was lacking? And like, what skills like did I need to have this position? Which is also a question you could ask in the interview process already to make you one step ahead. But like asking that kind of feedback is gonna then potentially make you higher up if you do apply to that company again. So they're going to see you as someone that wants to get better and work harder
Yep.
and find what was wrong. And so, but you are going to have to take the step after, I think, to ask those questions to figure out the answers that you want for future interviews.
Yeah, and remember, if they don't respond or you get a generic response, it's because they have thousands of applicants and they do this all the time, right? And so, yes, it's good to follow up and ask why, but you're probably not going to get an answer 9 times out of 10, and that's okay. It's just showing that you are interested. I would recommend always putting in the email, please keep me in mind for any future positions because these are the reasons that I like your company, and lists out the reasons why you like their company. Don't just say, keep me in mind for future positions. State why you're interested for like a long-term growth in that company. So again, it's continually differentiating yourself and don't take it personally that they don't respond would be my advice to that. Megan, how about you? What have you been hearing when people are interviewing and giving you feedback?
Honestly, it really frustrates me because more often than not, I won't even get an answer. At
Yeah,
least
it's
reject
usually
me.
no
Like,
email.
I don't know. But I mean, obviously, same thing, automated kind of answer. And, this might not be helping me, but I have been like, I'll notice a job I applied for a month ago. I had a friend or connection on LinkedIn, not someone I'm close with at all. She actually like got the position I applied for. And I ended up reaching out to her and literally asking her like what did they say? Like, how do you think you got it? Because yeah, like you said, 9 times out of 10, they're probably not going to tell you what you're doing wrong. And if they do, it's probably going to be you need more years of experience, which like, what are you going to do? You
That's
can't
the
just,
biggest thing.
Right.
yeah, you can't make up more years of experience if you have nowhere to start. So, which is annoying. But I ended up reaching out to that girl and she actually just, I don't know. Mostly she was just like, I feel like it was luck of the draw, but I was like, I don't know. I think she just told me to work on my interview skills. And I think she honestly just might have just had a better resume, but I think that's helpful, I guess, to talk to others that are in your position.
Yeah, and I think again, when you're interviewing, it's about the resume got you the interview. Look at it that way. The resume is like the ticket to get you the interview. Once you get the interview, it's how you're going to connect with that individual person and highlight your skills to do in that job. So those are the two things that you want to have is connection and then highlighting your skills. But when you have an interview and if you get the name of the person from the company you're interviewing with, what do you do ahead of time before the interview? Do you research that person? Go ahead, Ellie.
I did it yesterday. They
So
sent
what did
me
you
like
do?
because I have the interview tomorrow. And so, oh my God. And so she sent me, she was like, this is what like the position, these are the 3 people you're going to be interviewing with. And I already looked them all up on LinkedIn and looked at their positions and what they do and what they've done for the company. And so then I can go in with more information. So you seem much more prepared than other candidates. And so you want to find out as much as you can about them. So you can ask them a question too, and then make them like it feel more of a personal interview, like for them as well. So you feel more connected and they feel more connected to you. So you're kind of just like leveling up, like as you like find out this information.
Agreed. When you go on LinkedIn, also, that's exactly right. Look at what they do in the company, read their job description, how long they've been there, and then the other roles they had in the company, if they came from another company, their past experiences, or if they've been at that company for 20 years, like that's a huge, hey, how have you grown in this company? What do you love about it? And then I would also scroll all the way down on the bottom of LinkedIn, see where they graduated college, see what their volunteer interests are, see any posts that they made, like learn as much information about that person you're interviewing with personally and professionally, because again, it's about that connection that you're making at that time. And once you're connected with someone, they hear and listen a lot more than if you're not connected. They see you as just another candidate. Megan, your point is, how are you showing up in your interviews? Don't just answer the question how you're supposed to answer the question. Really be intentional on who you're interviewing with. Like if you're interviewing with an HR person, right, that's going to be a very different interview than if you're interviewing with the head of marketing.
Mhm.
It'll be very different if he or she is younger versus more experienced. So, you have to understand where that person is and their past experiences, because that will help you connect with them. So that would be, a suggestion for sure. And then obviously you're going to look who that person you're interviewing with or anyone in that company on LinkedIn. You search the company name and look at your network and see if you know anyone that works in that company, or if someone that works in that company that is a friend, like myself, Ellie. Like if you were searching my name, does she have any connections to the person that I'm interviewing with at X company? Because then I can help reach out. And then you message that person that knows the other person and they message on behalf of you, which is also very important. Again, it's differentiating yourself in the interview. And the resume, Megan, is just getting you the interview. And then your goal of that interview should get to the next interview and the next interview. And then that last interview should be that you should be the one candidate that is getting that job. So if you're on your last interview and you went through a series of interviews for both of you, is there a question that you ask at that interview to make sure that they feel confident that you're the right candidate, or if they have any other questions?
This is a hard one because I was always told all through college is you don't leave your interview without asking a question because that looks worse, even if it's a dumb question. And I always try to think of them before, but it is hard because when you feel like they've already answered all your questions and you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm on the spot. But I do like to kind of pull the flip reverse card on them and be like, what do you guys want me to learn kind of by being your employee? Like how do you want me to grow? Like almost like their goal for me. Cause I know my goals, but what's their goal as this position I'm taking on? But yeah, that's hard.
I
That's
think
something
we're through different processes so for this one, the interview I have tomorrow, I had 2 already phone calls with them, and I think the 3 that I usually always ask is what does success look like in the first 6 months in this role, and then what skills and traits are you looking for in someone in this role. And then I usually ask 2 questions at the end of every interview. And then there was another one, but something just kind of what does success look like? What is a successful person going to do in this role? And just kind of what are they looking for? Kind of so you're showing that you want to achieve their goals as well as yours.
Yeah. So when they give you an answer, do you use their answer somehow as a response back? How do you respond to their responses?
Mm.
I'm okay, thank you, say thank you for the answer, and then kind of say if you're asking about what kind of traits are you looking for, and be I portray those in yada yada yada, in things that you do,
Yeah,
organize,
past
very timely.
experience.
Yeah, and then relate to things you have done, oh, I show this trait in this because I did this, and
Mhm.
but not go crazy over explain, just kind of show them that you relate to what they're looking for and a little snippet, and then
Yep.
it was the end of the interview kind of already gave them your whole spiel of how great you are.
Right.
Exactly right. Don't just ask a question because you're supposed to ask a question.
Mhm.
Use when you ask a question, use their response somehow to integrate into a response back to sell yourself. So, Ellie, your example is right on to say, what traits do you see as most important in this position to be successful? And they list out 3 traits. And you say, yes, I'm very detail orientated and I can multitask in this position, or in school, or give an example. These were definitely some of the strengths that I always had, and make them feel, again, it goes back to the confidence. If you feel it or not, fake it. And you have to portray a level of confidence in interviews. They don't know that you're nervous. They don't know that you don't know what you're saying. They don't know you don't know what question to ask. But if you come across as confident, every leader is imagining how you're acting in that role when you work for them. So they're imagining you in a meeting presenting something. They're imagining you in a conversation with your manager, with your colleagues, with the customers even, right? So if you are strong and confident and connect on an interview, that skill set is transferable to how they see you in that job. And that's why it's not about so much what you're saying, believe it or not, but it's how you're coming across and how you're handling the conversation. So always, again, the connection and the confidence and making it the skill set that you have applicable to the role are probably the most important things for the interview.
Yeah. I think another one, sorry,
Yep.
I just thought
No,
of
go
the
ahead.
I I always ask I think this is like the first question I ask. I'm like, what does like a day look like in this role? Like, what are you kind of from start to finish throughout the day? Like, what are the normal
Yeah.
tasks that you do, or like meetings wise, or people you talk with, just to kind of like start out. And then like in this one she's like, it's a very like high volume, fast paced. And then in the follow up email, I was like, you mentioned that
Exactly.
it is high volume, like you add what they've already told you. So like,
Exactly.
and then like they give you more. So
Exactly.
I think
Yeah,
that's
put that 100% in the thank you, whatever they're mentioning. And a lot of times, a good question that I try to ask, or you can ask, and you can ask the same questions in every interview, by the way. No one compares
yeah,
the
those are my big 3
questions. Yeah. You could say, to combine a connection and also a skill set. I'll ask sometimes, what do you love about this company? Or if they've been there for 20 years, like you've been here for most of your career, why have you stayed and how have you grown? Or, what do you see as the growth trajectory for this company in the next 3 to 5 years? Because that is showing that you're interested in the long term and not necessarily just the short term job, because they want to invest in people that they can build long term, not just is going to leave in a year. And if you're going to leave in a year or not, that's okay. But fake it that you're going to be there forever and you'll be the most loyal company employee that they have, right? That's what they want to feel, that they can trust you, that they're confident, and that you'll be the long-term employee. That'll do very, very well for them.
This is perfect
So-
interview prep. I have an interview on Thursday too.
Yeah, this is great. I'm like thinking of
I
like,
need
I,
this.
so I looked up some girl and some guy who's been there since like 2012, and so I'll use that one.
Be like, wow, and be like, if someone's been there, like, oh, what position did you start in and how did you grow? Like, it looks like you, and flattery and compliments, you guys know how that feels when someone compliments you. Everyone likes to feel good about themselves. Compliment, right? Wow, you've been here a really long time. You must have been really successful in all of your previous roles. Walk me through like your journey here at this company. What has it been like? So that's a question you can ask. All right, so we talked about a lot of interviewing tips, so thank you both for sharing that. So any different advice going through your interviews for people that are graduating college or practicing to graduate college that you'd want to share with them now that you didn't know when you first started the interviewing process? Anything different you would do? Megan, we'll start with you.
I would honestly, instead of trying to give the basic, like, I would hire this person answer, I think that you just need to remember that being personable and being yourself and like taking something that you might feel like is not a normal answer in an interview and using it is definitely going to help you kind of stand out, of course, against others. Honestly, I'm still trying to figure it out too. So I don't know if I'm like the best person to give advice, but I think do your research, think about who you have connections with, use it to your advantage. We have social media, we have so many different outlets, and especially if you have a degree, like you have so many things at your fingertips. It's really hard to forget about that and the nerve of it all, but like just use your palette of resources. That's my advice, I guess.
Same question.
I agree. I mean, using the resources you have, as we kind of just said in the last question, like, since we have these resources, look up who these people are, look up the company, find out as much information and maybe like the little nitpicky things about them so you can bring it up and find that connection, bring up your personal things. You can bring up their personal things. It'll make the conversation way more easier, honestly, than sounding like a robot and trying to be that picture perfect employee that they want to hire. And so if you do that, then if you get the job, then you don't have to be someone that you're not when you give these answers and sound like a robot. It'll just be you from the
Yeah.
jump and having that straight connection. So like, just, it's less pressure to feel, and if it's less pressure about these robot answers that you're giving, like your body language, and you're gonna come off as much more comfortable, which they're looking for.
Yeah, for
all I
sure.
got.
And remember, like everyone is at the same level and they're just trying
Yeah.
to find someone different. So don't take it personally. Have either of you used any kind of like going to a meeting or a society, a club, or any kind of networks like locally to get to know people, personally or face to face? Have either of you done anything like that?
Like for
Um,
like job wise, like different like career center fairs or whatever.
That or like if Ellie, you had like a sports media meeting or Megan some marketing. I don't know what they would be,
I've
but
Yeah.
something that
seen
you meet
some
people.
things. I mean, depending on like obviously the industry, there's one that I'm exactly thinking of right now. But like I forget where it was, but it was like a day, and it was like a few, I guess, just companies that like kind of like a career fair, like how it would be in like college. And it was just kind of like a setup of like things to go to, people to meet. But I've
Yeah.
only seen one, but definitely more common in college. 'Cause
I was
that's
going
like,
to say, I had actually a lot of opportunities through that business fraternity that I was in. They did weekly speakers. So they would come and kind of tell us, like, I met the CEO of Chuck E. Cheese last semester, which I always think is a fun fact. But yeah, I got to talk to him for a while. He was really cool. I think it's just interesting to hear different careers and like how they got from square one to where they are now, which everybody has a different story and nobody's story is similar to the other. So I think it's nice, like hearing from people that started where you are and they're way up there. It is kind of hard, like Ellie said, to find resources like that out of college because it's obviously really easy when you're around people that are studying the same thing. But especially being in kind of a bigger city, I feel like it's hard to find something for like adults, not students.
Yeah, and when you met that CEO, did you ask him or her like, hey, do you mind if I request you and connect with you at LinkedIn and reaching out after I graduate to help with job opportunities?
Yeah, he encouraged all of us to connect with him, and I like had a quick conversation with him. Probably doesn't remember who I am, but I have the connection and I can definitely email him and reach out to him whenever I want. So I think that's going to be really beneficial in the future.
So I would say after you meet someone like that, even though you connect with them on LinkedIn, send them a message. Great to meet you.
Right.
I'm graduating December of 25.
Mhm.
I look forward to reaching out again and reach out to them. Tell them you graduated.
Right.
Any marketing opportunities. Like, don't be afraid to ask the question because if they don't want to help you, they'll say no or they won't respond. But if you never ask the question, you'll never know if there's an opportunity there. Well,
Right.
if you make that connection, follow up on it right away. And then immediately when, you graduate or when you're looking for a job, don't wait.
Mhm.
So
wait.
don't wait, just do it.
Just do it. Copyright.
All right. Well, this episode has definitely been focused to update everyone on where Ellie and Megan are today. I think you are
Wish us
both
luck.
finding and navigating through your journeys, finding kind of who you want to be, and then navigating through all the interviews and the companies. And persistency will prevail, so keep it up and keep differentiating yourself.
Strong sentence.
So again, this is Christine Hummel from Roots Are Rising. Thanks, Ellie and Megan. Nice seeing you again.
Bye. Bye. Good luck, girls.